Hi, my name is István, and I'm the pastor of the Tolmács Baptist Church, and I am very excited to welcome you to Tolmács, Hungary. Chances are you saw one of our paper brochures or somehow stumbled on our website, and that's how you are watching this video. Right now, I am standing on the back of our property, just about a year ago, a newly purchased property, and you are facing the street. I know you can't see that, but you can see those huge trees, which is where we're hoping to have our building in the near future. Up to God as He provides. And in other videos, I will be talking to you more about the building and showing you plans and things like that. But right now, as you could see from the title, this video is to tell you a little bit of ourselves and our story. In 1989, missionaries came and started the ministry of Word of Life Hungary, a ministry that's called Word of Life Fellowship in the United States right now. And, those missionaries wanted to minister to people in town, and so they started house groups, and that's how our church began. It officially became a church many years later in 1996, and then it was basically known as an evangelical church. People didn't know much about the church except that there is an entity like this in Tolmács, because we had a lot to grow and a lot to learn and a lot to grow. But over the last 11 years, as I became the pastor, the church finally had somebody to devote their full time and full energy to look after, to nurture, to work with the church. And the Lord has been extremely gracious to us, and we've learned a lot. But basically, our biggest job and our biggest lesson was to learn to become independent. We had it easy before. We could use Word of Life property. We could use Word of Life equipment. We had all the students at our disposal, basically. So the students could do the ministries of our church, and they were very happy to do that. And so it was a very tough decision. I cannot even remember, in about 2000, maybe 13 or 14, when we separated from the students. That was the first step. Most churches would welcome college students to their church and would be happy to have them, and we were happy to have them, but we needed to start down this difficult road of becoming independent, of providing for ourselves financially, of providing for a pastor, which was a brand new thing starting in 2011. That was the first time that the church had anybody that they paid. And so we had a lot to learn, is all I have to say in this video. It's a long story. And so in 2015 we joined the only Baptist denomination in Hungary, and so since then we've been known in Tolmács as a Baptist church, the Tolmács Baptist Church. For the last maybe 3 or 4 years, the Lord has been nudging us and pushing us to take one more step to become completely independent by moving off the property of Word of Life. Like I said, it was comfortable. I was not looking forward to always having to look for a place to rent or a place to be, but we had to take that step. The Lord took that step instead of us, because in 2020, COVID came to the world, and Word of Life Ministries, very understandably, had to close the property so that they could protect their students. But what that meant was that our church could no longer meet. Actually, I recorded this for you, so let me show you the 6 different places. I think it was more, but at least show you 6 different places where our church met just over the last 2 years. Until March 2020, we were renting from Word of Life. Then we were all forced online. Following that, we spent some of the summer back on Word of Life property, but only outside, so we spent some of the Sundays at different people's houses outside. We were able to move into the local community center, and then we started renting a church building in a nearby town on Sunday afternoons. Then we were forced online again. The next summer, we basically spent all Sundays at someone else's house outdoors, and we finally moved back into the local community center until it had to be renovated, and we moved into the local public school. We're hoping to move back into the community center as renovations complete. Until then, as of summer 2022, we are again meeting outdoors at somebody's house. We're showing you all of this not to complain or to make you feel sorry for us, simply to help you see how the Lord has led us to the decision to build. All right, now that you've seen those, you're pretty much caught up with us. You pretty much feel with us, at least, I think you do, of what it must have been like. And we've been busy. Hungarian law allows us to preach the gospel freely in public schools, and so that's one of my jobs actually, is teaching religious classes to, this is what we call it, religious classes, to students in the public school. But what that means is basically sharing the gospel and the gospel stories and Bible stories. We've been busy with elderly homes and a rehabilitation home just nearby. Actually, Tolmács has one of those homes. So obviously a lot of children's programs, after-school programs in the school, like teaching English. We've been working with Word of Life, and so we had a lot of opportunities. It's an excellent relation. There's an excellent relationship with the mayor and his team, with the school and their team. So the opportunities are definitely out there. Well, we do English teaching, adult English teaching, we did it for many years. Again, limitations over the last couple of years. And we've seen salvations through that, and we've seen built relationships through that. So the Lord just showed us, all right, guys, it's time. Together with the elders, we've come to the understanding that the Lord would really like to strengthen our faith, even through this, as He provides, through people, through just however He wants to provide. So, well, that's our story, and that's how we came to the decision to build a building. So, starting with those trees, and then moving towards the left, that's exactly where our building's going to be. And this is the street that I was talking to you about. And now, what I want to show you is the opposite side of the street. And for now, this is all I'm going to say. Let me run down there and show you and explain to you what I mean. You see that line of trees a little bit above my horizon? That's the street that we just walked off of. Came down right here in the middle of that open field that I showed you a moment ago. And that little bit of opening in the middle of the screen right now is where our church building is going to be. Now, imagine people walking around here in the middle of this field, looking up, and basically the only building that they see besides a few homes is the Baptist church building, the Baptist Ministry Center. Now I know you're thinking, Josu, why would people walk down here? I mean, this is basically a dump right now, and let me show you around just to see that this is definitely neglected, and it's a place for landfills, and it's a place for bringing your trash basically. But when we bought the property about a year ago, maybe a little less than a year ago, our dream was that maybe one day this place is going to become a park. I mean, wouldn't that be something? And the grace of God and the timing of the Lord, especially, just a month ago, I was talking with the mayor, and she said, we got the money. And this place is going to become one of the most beautiful parks that Tolmács, our little town, has ever built. In a small town like Tolmács, people are going to be here all the time. And the one building that they're going to see every time they walk around here, or they get an ice cream over there in the same street where our church is going to be, is the Baptist Ministry Center. Now, how cool is that? So, well, dream with us and imagine, the Baptist building being brought up alongside the park as they're beginning the renovations, the building of this park, and everybody's looking around all the time. And then they also get to see the church building being brought up. In 2021, our church purchased the property, the one you saw me standing on in the video. Thanks to the generosity of people and the grace of God, over the 20 years, we've been able to save up around $20,000. And with that, we have begun the planning process. As of July 2022, our architect is working on the plans using the 2009 original plans, which are still subject to change. So let me show you around the building. The foyer, that's number 2. 3, the auditorium, which seats about 80 to 90 people maximum. Number 12 and number 13 are small classrooms, and number 11 will be an office. The total estimate of the entire building project is around $400,000. So we decided to break it down to smaller sections. Step 1, planning and permits, which began in June 2022, around $15,000. Step 2, foundation, construction, and weather tighting the building, roof, doors and windows, $160,000 US. Step 3 will be our interior walls, plumbing, fixtures, electrical, HVAC, $130,000. And step 4, insulation and sheetrock and painting, both on the inside and outside, and then exterior finishing with insulation and other things, $110,000. Now think with us as we look into the future. This space will finally provide a home for our church and a great space for our children to learn the Word of God. But don't stop here. Imagine a bunch of teenagers who need the Lord hanging out in this building because there's nowhere else to hang out in Tollemache, playing games and spending time with Christian young people, getting to know the Word of God and getting to know the Lord. Or imagine turning to small classrooms into an actual classroom to teach English to adults, using that to share the gospel. Imagine evangelistic concerts, couples retreats, or all kinds of other events to young and old. Really, to sum it up, imagine just one more place where the truth of God is preached. In a town, the town of Tollemache, where out of 3,000 people, maybe 1% know the Lord, and even more so in a country, the country of Hungary, where still 80% of towns and villages do not have a gospel preaching church. The harvest is great and the laborers are few. Please keep us in your prayers as we turn to the Lord, trusting Him to provide.